Hello and welcome to Michael's Minty Music for today. Today we review Led Zeppelin's 1973 album, Houses of the Holy. It's pretty good. There are definitely some good songs here, and in my opinion, it represents an improvement of Led Zeppelin's style for this album. So, pretty interesting. This is the track listing, and these are the tracks I added to my playlist. 5 out of 8, so just 1 over half. This album is definitely good, but it's a bit more experimental than their previous albums. So some of the tracks aren't as good, but the good tracks are even better. So it kind of evens out overall. The only issue is that the flow of the album kind of gets caught between the two sort of styles of songs. The first side doesn't open crazy good, but it eventually gets there, while side 2 is a bit more balanced. In general, you can tell at this point Led Zeppelin hit kind of a groove. They figured out their sound and started to push what they wanted to do, and it works pretty well. But, some of the songs are really just, you just listen to them and they're just all right. And then some of them you listen to them and you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. So it's kind of a mix between those two things. There were no singles released before the album. My favorite song here is probably Over the Hills and Far Away. It's one of the bigger tracks off of this album, and it's probably the best one, although Dier Make Her, it's hard to pronounce that one. There's a specific accent you're supposed to do, and the crunge could maybe take it. I really like those two songs, even though, I guess they weren't really popular at the time. But they're pretty experimental and interesting, so I like those ones but I think Over the Hills and Far Away is the most clean. Now, I rank this album second out of all the Led Zeppelin albums I've heard so far. It's similar in quality to both Led Zeppelin 4 and Led Zeppelin 3. I think that 4 comes together better, but Houses has enough good songs to beat out 3. On a song-for-song basis, Houses may beat out 4, but 4 just flows better, because it's just not as experimental. Those 3 albums are still all pretty close, though. They all have a good amount of songs, and they all flow pretty decently. But I think that Led Zeppelin 4 is the best out of the 3. And I think Houses of the Holy fits in, sort of in between Led Zeppelin 3 and 4. However, Houses of the Holy doesn't take my top spot from 1973. That stays with Billy Joel's Piano Man, which flows together better, and it still includes a good amount of experimentation, and it's just a better album than Houses of the Holy. It also helps that I think it has more songs on it, which kind of contributes to that. But yeah, I think that Piano Man is better than Houses of the Holy. Next up is Queen's 1975 album, A Night at the Opera. It's pretty good. It's definitely got some great tracks in it, and it flows pretty well, so stay tuned for that, and stay minty.